Henry McClure live. How are you today? It's a Saturday. I'm going to have a really good video coming up about Shawnee County, Topeka planning, and the hitch and the get along. How's that for a word? If any of you watch Gunsmoke, you remember Festus? He's got a little hitch in the get along. But we've got a lot of hitches in the get along here in Topeka, Kansas. So let's just say our city council for a minute. Everybody in every district votes in nice people, and you think that you're going to get represented, and they're going to have the best interests at heart. But then you've got a bunch of people that sometimes won't stand up and fight for things, just goes along with the crowd, can get browbeated, um, alienated. So the real issue that I want to address in this short little Henry McClure live video is the city manager and and maybe I'm actually um, addressing the form of government. So since we've gone on to the city manager form of government, uh, I think we've had too many stumbling blocks. As far as I know, I didn't have to work for Norton Bonaparte, but I thought Norton Bonaparte was doing a good job. You could get a meeting with him, you could sit down, you could talk to him. I think Norton Bonaparte was not treated very well by the citizens of Topeka for several reasons. So, the last mayor I remember that Bunton, I don't know the exact time frame, but Bunton sure didn't want to give up. Bunton wanted to rule the world, and I mean, a really good mayor that I remember was Joan Wagner. And what I've always liked about Joan Wagner was she was a unifier. She didn't care if you're a Republican. She didn't care if you're a Democrat. She cared about the deal. And what anybody that just cares about the deal's got a place in my heart. I like Joan. When I first moved back to Topeka, she spoke to a luncheon of the Board of Realtors, and I think at the time I was a member. And she asked for people to be on the Metropolitan Planning Commission, and I volunteered. And I learned more about Topeka. I learned more about Topeka and how it really works being on the Metropolitan Planning Commission. And the Metropolitan Planning Commission at that time was also the MPO. And the MPO's duty was to administer oversight and take public involvement, get public involvement where the federal funds that come into our community are distributed fairly. This is all a lot to take in, but why is it important to me as a real estate developer and a broker? This is breakfast. And I think one of the most broken things we've got, the absolute most broken thing we've got, is the planning. And I'm telling you what, the city of Topeka has no business having anything to do with the county. It's got to stop at the border. You've got to talk to people, you've got to engage people. But the city of Topeka, until we can at least have fresh water in our town, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Topeka, stay out of the county business. Run your city right. And at that juncture, you know, we if we're going to have two planning commissions, we ought to be talking. I mean, it would be better to go back to one metropolitan planning commission. And I'm serious. We really need to get the people back involved with what was called the MPO, the MTPO. You know, some days you think there's really only like 1,000 people that live in Topeka, and it's a shell game, and they got to show up at every. I mean, because like this guy's on that board, that board, that board. You know, like, and it's our fault for not getting involved. You got to give some money to some politician so he appoints you to a board. Hey, get with it. Open up your checkbook. So back to the point was city manager. And today, I got two people right now I could make city manager if I was King Henry. Here we go. I'd like to thank Brad Griffin for my King Henry mug. Um, Bill Cochran today. And I'm telling you, Craig McCullough today. Either of these guys could walk right in and be city manager based on their backgrounds. And this is where the council loses the ability to think because they're not business people. I mean, a business guy picks up the phone and calls a guy. That's how I got my job with the Macerich Company. Dana K. Anderson calls Dane Smith. Dane Smith fortunately had an interview with me, and during the interview, he said Dana K. Said I should call you. You'd be good for the job. But see, it's about relationships. So Neil Dobler's a great guy. Came up through the city, and and maybe he's trying to appoint his city manager, but Neil hadn't. Um, Neil hasn't had to make payroll as a as a leader. You know, Bartlett and West. He wasn't the king of Bartlett and West, writing checks out of his own checkbook. Karen Hiller, I don't know. Um, David Banks, hey, he's an entrepreneur now. After he retired from the fire department, running a painting company, having crews in the lawn care business. I'm trying to get him to sell that lawn care business because he needs to focus on running the city. But so Michelle Hofer, now that's a girl. She knows about how to make payroll. She runs a business. But here's what I'm saying. So everybody that ran for office had good intention, but what I think we need to do is we got to figure out how to change the form of government. And when I say it's like the sheriff, he's elected. And if he doesn't perform, he gets unelected. City manager. We ought to elect a city manager. And I'd elect Bill Cochran or I'd elect Craig McCullough today. And I'm going to tell you a couple of their backgrounds. I really enjoyed helping Craig. Um, I don't know if I helped him or not, but watching him, I think he did a yeoman's job of running for office. Uh, he said I was a good fundraiser, but man, I ran into so many obstacles because people didn't want to donate because they didn't want to make her mad over there in Oakland. And when we start gerrymandering the districts, maybe we got to look at some things. I mean, there's a different Topeka north of the river, and then there's Oakland. I mean, I think we probably ought to. Um, anyway, number one, I want to do away with ballot harvesting. That would probably change the complexion of who gets in. But both these guys have a military background, and I'm telling you, this is going to happen here pretty soon. The military issues, uh, the policing issues. You just can't have people pouring into our country and not think it's going to affect. There's a lot of bad actors, and they're just walking into our country. I don't care what color they are, whatever. There's a lot of bad actors because a lot of people don't like America. A lot of people hate this country for some reason. Just stay home then if you hate our country. But some of those issues, some of those issues are going to haunt us, and they're going to haunt us soon. And with Bill's police background and military background, I mean, I would love to know what he knows coming up through the ranks of the city police department. Man, I bet that guy's got more. He's got more knowledge, and maybe that's why people don't want him in power. Hey, that is it. Hey, I don't want that guy in any power. He knows all about what's going on. And I do think the guy knows what's going on. And he went from police, and just ask him yourself. Let him tell the stories. But he goes from police department to the chief of staff for um, the city manager. I guess that Doug Gerbert guy, he had to go off to the other town to make videos. But look, that's Topeka government. That like let's look at Doug Gerber and let's look at the water deferred maintenance of the water because they're one and the same. Well, we're not going to put money into that today because we can do all this other stuff. And then you got guys like Gerber doing what he's doing because man, I know people in Topeka that got that treatment. Imagine masturbating on a video and sending it to somebody. The guy deserves to get fired. It's like having an affair with a cop's wife in Topeka. Look at this. This is the way things are going on, and nobody's really talking about it. And I'll tell you where Mr. Wade's going to win the day. He's going to win some of that lawsuit money is by sending him to therapy and trying to get him better. And I'm telling you, hey, that guy's got some sort of magic. If he drinks an elixir to do all he's doing, I want that elixir. But the minute I found out there were issues around narcotics and being addicted, then I start getting compassion. Man, I made a lot of decisions high, bad decisions. What's funny is when I moved to Topeka, it was a completely sober act. I can't. I think I had like 6 years of sobriety. It's funny. The Topeka at least wasn't a drunken decision. Oh man, I cracked myself up. But I'll tell you something. This Craig McCullough guy, he's got some software company that he's working on that could streamline um, the government processes. So, I mean, we got two winners right here. And that's what we ought to be doing. We ought to be interviewing these two guys. So, I can't take the city government. People say, Henry, you go down there and, you're beginning to make sense. Even Cook, even Cook the other day says, um, I think you're crazy as a loon. Just need to channel that energy. I'm, sometimes, in Kansas, we were brought up if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But I will tell you one thing: I don't think Cook's a racist. Um, I think he's socially awkward. Anyway, because I know he's socially awkward the way he treated some clients of mine one day right in front of him when they've got an up and going business, mainline printing. Hey, we don't need any more printing in this town. What? Who says that? I've never been so embarrassed. I've probably in the past embarrassed some people over my actions. If I need to make an amend to you, it's not too late. Well, so hey, follow up. Call your call your county commissioner. Call your city council person. Call everybody. Think about Cochran. Think about Craig McCullough. Even if it's give Cochran a shot and make McCullough the chief of staff. Bring in two people. The one last thing I notice about Topeka, um, it's like nobody gets fired. Well, hey, Joe over here, he's a couple of years away from getting his retirement, so we're going to move Joe over here. Joe can play out his time, and so we're paying for old Joe so he can get a better retirement instead of bringing in Mary over here who can do Joe's job and let Joe go away because he's just slacking anyway. Joe's coming to work, hanging out at the water cooler, making coffee, dragging out the day, just trying to get to the end of the retirement. But he's not useful anymore. Joe needs to go. Hey, that was profound. And what we need over here is a Hail Mary. But think about it. If you thought about, by statute, we've got to leave the county where they are. And if you had three city council people at large and you elected an administrator, the complexion of our Shawnee County government would be completely different. And I think if you paid everybody the same amount what county commissioners get, I did the math one day just because I love Excel spreadsheets. You save money. Henry McClure Live, thank you for your time. Tune in to the next Henry McClure Live, and I'll show you in the field where my resentments fester. Thanks.